So let's add that. So attributes, we're gonna add it here, but we have to make it in C++. Okay. So we go to ability system, we make a new folder, call it execution. New execution. And then we're gonna make a new class derived from execution calculation, gameplay effect execution calculation. And we're gonna call it my damage execution calculation. My damage execution calculation. And then create it. And here we just override two of them, which is the constructor. My damage and the execute function. If you're not using writer, I'll pause right here and see it. Okay. Now we just implement them. Okay. So first things first, we're gonna make a new struct. We're gonna call it f damage statics. This is gonna, oops. So this is gonna capture our declarations. So we're gonna get target attributes, declare attribute capture def, and can I call it health? Health. But to add the next ones, we actually have to add our attribute set. Okay, so we're gonna add a new type of attribute for a character, which is like a combat attribute. So attribute sets. So attribute set add Unreal class, and it is a attribute set base, and then we call it combat set, and then we press OK. Go here, go to public combat set, do a constructor, and then we do a couple overrides: pre attribute change, post gameplay effect execute, get lifetime replicated, and pre attribute base change. Okay. Then we're gonna make a couple attributes. So we're gonna make some offensive attributes, offensive, and then also some defensive. Okay, to make a new attribute, you gotta do u property, blueprint read only, category equals combat set, and we're gonna replicate using equals onRep underscore attack speed. So this is our attack speed attribute. Then we do f gameplay attribute data, call it attack speed, and we set it to 1. Attribute accessor, u combat set, and then call it attack speed. Okay, so that's our attack speed. Then same thing for all the other ones. So we're gonna have critical strike chance and critical strike damage. Obviously, we have to change critical strike chance, and then we change the name of the onRep, and we change the name of the accessor. Then again, critical strike damage multiplier. Change the name of the onRep, and change the name of the accessor. And critical strike chance, I'm gonna set it to 0.1, so 10%. and critical strike damage multiplier 1.2. So it's going to be 1.2 of the damage. So 20% more damage whenever you crit. Okay. And defensive, again, just grab this so we don't have to rewrite it. And we're going to name it damage reduction. And damage reduction is going to start at 0. Because I don't want any damage reduction defaulted. And then change our on rep function and change the accessory. Okay. Then we have to make a couple. We actually have to make our own rep functions, right? So we define them here, replicate it using, but we actually have to make them. So we're going to do u function, virtual void, on rep, attack speed, and const at gameplay attribute data reference old attack speed. And then copy paste everything again. 1, 2, 3. So that's 4. So critical strike chance. And old critical strike chance. Critical strike damage multiplier. And damage reduction. Okay, so everything's defined correctly. Now we're gonna implement all our functions. So we do our combat set, our pre-entry, post, gameplay effect, our get lifetime replicated, and that one, and all of these. Okay, so we can leave our combat set, our constructor just like that. But our pre-attribute set, so before an attribute gets changed, if attribute is equal to get critical strike chance attribute. So we can get that function because we define this macro, right? This macro created this get. Okay, and now we're gonna clamp our critical strike chance. So you don't want to be able to crit more than 100% or less than 0, right? So we're gonna clamp this. So we're gonna range it from 0% to 100%. So the new value, which is this new value up here, equal to f math clamp doing 0 .f and new value. So it has to pass in the reference for the clamp 0.f and 1.f. And we're gonna do the same thing for all our things, unless you don't want to clamp them. So if you want unlimited critical strike damage multiplier, you wouldn't clamp it. You just, well, I would still clamp it to like 1, so you don't do less damage when you crit, but that's about it. Equals get critical strike damage multiplier. And we're gonna range it from 120% to 12,000%. So that would be 1.2, 1.2, 2, 120, I think. Yep, so not two zeros. 1, 2, 120. else if. So then we clamp our attack speed. This is very important. We clamp. Get attack speed attribute. We're gonna range it from let's clamp it from 10% to let's do 200% attacks. Okay. It's attribute, not attack speed. Okay. And then we 0.1 and 2. And lastly, we clamp our attribute, get damage reduction. And we're gonna clamp, we're gonna range it from 0% to 90%. You don't want 100% damage reduction, or you just won't take any damage. But you can clamp it to 99 if you want. From 0 to 0.9. Okay, so that's it for that one. Post gameplay if I execute. We're not really gonna do anything, but you see attribute set execution data, get execution data mod from and data dot execution data. So we're not doing anything here. I just like setting this up just in case you want to do it later. Okay, and get lifetime replicate. So do rep lifetime condition notify. You combat set attack speed condition none and rep notify always. So we're gonna rep notify every time this attack speed thing changes. We're gonna notify the server and it's gonna update it. Okay, so we're gonna do same thing for all of them. So critical strike chains, then multiplier, then defense. What do you call it? All damage reduction. Okay, that's it for that. Pre-attribute base change. So we're using the copy paste this. Same thing. And then all the on-rep functions we have to call gameplay attribute rep notify and you combat set attack speed, hold attack speed. Okay, so we're gonna do this for all of them. Obviously, we change it with correct value. So they're not all attack speed. Chance, multiplier, and damage reduction. And that's it. We created our combat set. Now we can use this combat set in our execution. So we go back to our execution. And then again, we declare, call it damage reduction. So we're gonna get the target's health and damage reduction. And we're gonna get the source. So whoever is dealing the damage. Player capture attribute again. And we're gonna get its critical strike chance and critical strike damage multiplier. So we're gonna get the target's health and damage reduction, and we're gonna get the source, so whoever's dealing damage, the critical strike chance and critical strike multiplier. Okay. And then damage statics. The constructor for this is going to be, again, target attribute, target attributes, define attribute, capture diff, once again. So our health is in UESC attribute set, right? We call the health, and then it's a target, and then false. And the same thing we're gonna do for, so it's not in the USC anymore, it's in the U combat set. U combat set. We're gonna capture our damage reduction. Damage reduction. Yeah, now for the source, we're gonna do the same, but I'll target its source. So they're both from combat set. Critical strike chance. And the multiplier. Critical strike chance multiplier. And this is source. And this is true. And that's it for our little struct. Now we can actually use this struct. Actually, need one more thing. We need to get this struct. Okay, need to get all these values. So we're gonna static damage f damage static reference damage statics, and this function is gonna make a new f damage statics. Call it statics, and it's just gonna return this statics. Okay, that's it. And we're gonna use this over here to get all of this in one simple function. Okay. So in the constructor, we're gonna do set up the target, relevant attributes to capture, dot add. So now we're gonna use our damage statics. Dot health depth, relevant add damage statics dot damage reduction depth. So we're capturing those, that one and that one. In source, we're gonna damage statics dot critical strike chance depth, relevant add scratcher, add damage statics again, critical strike damage multiplier depth. Okay, so we capture all those when we construct it. And execute implementation, we want to delete the super because we're overriding it for a reason, right? We want to make our own. U ability system component, ability system component. We're going to get the target's ability system component is equal to execution params dot get target ability system component. Then we're going to get the target actor just in case we want to use it later. Target ability system component. So if we have the target ability system component, we do target ability system component dot get avatar actor. If we don't, we set it to null pointer. And again, we do the same thing for the, so not the target, the source, right? Source ASC equals execution params. Execution params dot get source ability system component. And don't forget your pointers. And then again, we get the actor, source actor. source equals, so if we have the source, we do source ASC dot get avatar actor. If we don't, we just set it to null pointer. Okay, and that's it for that. After that, we have to make our specs. So const add gameplay effect spec spec spec. Not a handle, just a spec. Reference spec equals execution params dot get only spec. Add gameplay tag container. So we're gonna get the source tags. So source tags equals from the spec. So the spec is gonna give us capture source tags, get aggregated tags. So we're gonna get the tags that the source actor has. So whoever's dealing damage, we're getting their tags. And add gameplay tag container pointer, and then the target tags. Flag dot capture get aggregated tags. So I messed up here. It's not capture source tags, it's capture target tags, and then get aggregated tags. So we got source tags and the target tags. F aggregator, evaluated parameters, evaluated parameters, evaluated parameters dot source tags equals source tags. Evaluated parameters dot target tags equals target tags. Okay, now we have all the information we need. We're actually going to start applying the damage. So float base damage. So it's going to be our base damage is fmath max float of spec dot get set by color magnitude. Again, gameplay tag, request gameplay tag. So whenever you want to use a gameplay tag, you have to request it. And it's called set by color dot damage. And make sure it's spelled correctly or it won't do anything. It needs to find the correct one, right? And here, type in false, and default, we'll make it to -1. Oh, we're messed up our, there you go. Too many parentheses. Okay, now some more boilerplate. Float critical strike chance equals 0.f. Execution params dot attempt calculate capture attribute magnitude. We're gonna do damage statics dot critical strike chance def, I mean, evaluated parameters and critical strike chance. I'm just gonna copy paste this so I don't have to type all of that again. But we're gonna do critical strike damage multiplier. And then again, we replace with the correct ones. And then we need the defense. So again, all of this damage reduction. And then we replace all of this. Okay, so we got all the boilerplate done. Now we actually do the math. So if our base damage is less than 0, we're gonna set our base damage to 0. We don't want to heal the character, right? If we're dealing damage to him, we don't want to heal him. So if the damage for some reason over here comes less than 0, we just set it 0. Now we determine if we've crit, so we do a little roll. Just made math library, random float in range. So we're gonna do it from 0.f to 1.f. So if this is less than or equal to critical strike chance, that means we crit it. So we're gonna do base damage times equal critical strike damage multiplier. So that means we crit, so we're multiplying our base damage by our critical strike damage multiplier. Okay, and then after that, we just base damage. We multiply that by our damage reduction. So 1.f minus damage reduction. Damage reduction. So if our damage is 100 and our damage reduction is 90%, it will get, you will only take 10% of the damage, right? That's pretty much what this is doing. Okay. And then lastly, out execution output. So this is how you actually apply the damage. We do add output modifier, F gameplay modifier, evaluated data. We do damage statics, dot health property, the gameplay mod up and additive. So we're gonna add this base damage to our character, but it's gonna be in the negative, so it actually takes damage. So base damage. So this line is getting the health property and applying this base damage to this health property. As you can see, we're getting the definition up here, but we're getting the actual property here, right? Because we want to modify it. Here, we're just getting the values. Here, we're modifying the values. And that's it. So that's our damage calculation. We go back to here. We compile. Now, if you go to your set by color gameplay effect, instead of modifier, you delete that. Execution, you add an execution, and you select my damage execution. Okay. And then calculation modifiers. We just select health, target, not snapshot. You can select all different ones. Modifier up, it's add, but the modifier magnitude, we do set by color. And this set by color, we haven't made set by color, so we create a new tag, call it set by color dot damage. The same as you called it in your C++ code, or nothing will work, right? So you go back to your C++ code. As you can see right here, we call it set by color dot damage. And that is it. Okay. So now we actually test our cheat code from the beginning of the, but to test that, we have to go into the player and my cheat manager. We have to create a blueprint type of our cheat manager. Cheat manager. And we open it up, and here we can select our gameplay effect, GE set by color damage. So we set our blueprint type, but now we have to go into player controller, and in cheat class, we have to change our cheat class to my cheat class. So we can actually call this function, right? Now we play, and we go damage self, I think. Damage self, and then type in the float that you want to damage yourself by, 30. And as you can see, we took some damage. So we have 1,000 health, so it's not very noticeable. But if you do 300, there you go. So now our attributes, and our attributes are actually working and they're showing on the UI. Okay, very cool. On the next video, we're gonna add jumping and sprinting. Okay, so see you later.